Relationships, they may be our most valuable joy or the greatest heartbreaks if handled carelessly. We'll go over 5 important factors to think about in this video before starting a new relationship. Now let's dive in. First and foremost, get well from your injuries. Heal from your wounds. It may surprise you to learn that most people who enter into relationships nowadays do so with a lot of baggage and past wounds. In fact, some people utilize new relationships as a means of escaping from their previous wounds. Healing from all of your past hurts is one of the most crucial things to do before entering into a committed relationship. Although it may be challenging, you must do this task because these scars may result from family problems, your upbringing, previous surroundings, or previous relationships. For instance, if your father didn't show you affection when you were a child, you might have desperately pursue male validation at the expense of inner healing, and you'll unintentionally bring your childhood wounds onto your partner. If you've experienced a nasty divorce, resentment and unhappiness may prevent you from being intimate in your next relationship. You may find yourself unintentionally bringing your childhood wounds into your marriage. Another example is when a man has an unhealthy perception of women that isn't addressed in his marriage, such as when he was raised by an abusive mother or never saw a healthy mother figure. Contempt or dominating behavior could emerge when recurring patterns. Healing must come before commitment. You shouldn't make your spouse experience your traumatic past. It's not their fault. Secondly, ask real questions. Often when people start a new relationship, they ask petty questions that are pointless, such as what their favorite TV show is or what their favorite meal is. These kinds of queries won't keep your marriage or relationship going. Instead, you need to be sincere in your discussions and ask meaningful questions about issues like principles, life's purpose, mental well-being, spiritual development, communication methods, settlement of conflicts, sexual history of the family, honesty, parenting ideologies, finances, gender roles, and deal breakers. The more personally acquainted you are with someone, the easier it will be to judge compatibility. You should also make sure that their words and deeds are consistent. For example, if someone claims to value honesty, do they take offense at criticism? If family is important to them, how do they treat parents and siblings? Any discrepancies should be discussed constructively rather than assigning blame. Discuss issues together, keeping in mind that no two persons are the same when it comes to basic moral differences. Dialogue. Different styles and emotional states can put pressure on a marriage. Differing levels of maturity can also lead to problems, such as when a fervent believer marries a reticent Christian. Prayerfully consider the distinctions. You see if things are destructive or controllable. Third, long-term, never disregard red flags. Don't ever disregard warning signs. There are warning signs in place to help you pay attention to them, so don't ignore them when they arise. Red flags denote sensible bounds and areas for growth and discovery. Red flags are warning signs. It's best not to push a relationship to improve if you see a lot of red flags early on. Some flaws are manageable, while others cannot be controlled. You should never overestimate your abilities if you see characteristics that you know are off limits. Avoid thinking that you can magically change things later on. Things don't always go as planned. Consider your negotiables and non-negotiables. If your core values and priorities don't align, it's likely not going to work in the long run. Don't expect perfection, but major red flags are a sign that a relationship is built on sand, not rock. It's foolish to keep moving forward in the hopes that things will magically get better, because that only makes blood red flags become deal breakers. Therefore, pay attention early and don't excuse toxic behavior in the name of unconditional love. If you're not equally yoked, loving God and yourself requires you to go. Staying can only result in a painful divorce. Pray 4 times. This is arguably the most crucial thing you can do in a relationship, since you never know what a person is really like until you get to know them. Therefore, before you commit to someone, always pray and ask God to show you who they are. The incorrect person in your life has the power to ruin your future. Many people get married only to find out years later that they were married. The worst thing you can do is get married without first consulting God. Bring all of your desires, decisions, and relationship milestones before the Lord in prayer. Seek wisdom and affirmation of His will, and let the Holy Spirit to lead you to the truth of compatibility. Begin by asking God to direct your steps and lead you to His greatest intentions in every relationship, including the one that ends up being marriage vows. Specifically, ask the Holy Spirit to disclose the motivations and suitability of anyone who is demanding your attention. Over time, don't move forward based solely on intense attraction. Instead, let patience and prayer reveal the truth along the way. Bring decisions, desires, and concerns to God. Should you pursue exclusivity after several months of dating? Cloud discernment, so pray for clarity and confirmation. Ask God for guidance and wonder if you're getting anxious because the clock is ticking. Lay your worries before the Lord. Prayer brings divine order and alignment. If things go well and you decide to get engaged, then by all means immerse yourself in prayer for the wedding. But don't stop there. Pray over every aspect of the planning, including who should be in the wedding party and which vendors fit into your values and budget. Establishing healthy long-term habits by asking the Holy Spirit to direct every decision, including premarital counseling regarding a relationship, and make it a point to pray together for everything from financial decisions to number 5 conflict resolutions. Consider the long term. Think long term. Time is quite valuable, and the more time you spend hanging out or fooling about, the more you are squandering it. You shouldn't ever enter a relationship to experiment. People with a strong sense of self-worth understand the importance of time, so they don't have time to joke around with others. They also know they will never get married since, ultimately, those who don't help you grow will kill you. After all, only God knows what the future contains. There are seasons in partnerships, but think on the long-term benefits of each interaction. Does this person help you grow closer to Jesus? Do they enhance your calling and strengths? Consider each interaction as a training ground for the eternal harvest that God plans for you in His perfect timing. Treat every contact with seriousness, wisdom, and the long-term objective of a solid, God-honoring marriage in mind. Thank you for being here with us today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Then move forward and guard your heart. The right person will show up eventually.